Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Culture and Cigars. I'm your host, Demetrius Holland. Today I got a special guest with me, Miss Treva Gordon. Can you go introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Demetrius. My name is Treva Gordon, and I'm so honored. I'm blessed to be a part of your show today. I live in Clarksville, Tennessee, originally from Detroit, Michigan. So anybody listening from Detroit, what up, though?
I said your name all wrong.
That's okay.
So it's Treva, not Trevor.
Treva, that's right.
Okay.
But I'll take either, or it's okay.
Okay, so tell us a little bit, all the things you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. I am a publisher. I publish a magazine. It's called the Convenient Shopper Magazine. The magazine has been in existence since 2005, so we're 12 years in the running. Also, I have a Sunday morning radio show called The Treva Show on WJZM. It's geared towards gospel music, so we've been doing that. And I'm a pastor. My husband is the pastor of Mile High Church, so we're doing that in the city of Clarksville. And I just like to be involved with things in the community. I like to reach out to people that are doing things in the community, and I love to connect people. So I like to think of myself as a bridge, a connector, if you will, and help bring people together. So I think that's a big part of my calling.
Okay. You talked about the convenience shopper. Can you tell us what that is? And I ask my question after that.
Okay, the Convenience Shopper, it is an advertising publication. It's a magazine. I started in 2005, and we feature local businesses, also great feature stories, calendar events, and it's a free magazine that you can pick up in more than 250 key locations throughout the city of Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Hopkinsville, and Oak Grove, Kentucky. And I just think it's a neat magazine. We come out every 2 months, and so we just released the May-June edition, and it's on stands now. You can pick it up in any of the Kroger stores, the campus of Austin Peay State University, several barbershops, and local businesses in the community. So this issue, we're featuring a lady by the name of Carol Stevens. She's on our cover, and she is the CEO of NIA Association, and they provide disability support services in the Clarksville community. So, and also I do contractual work for them. I do PR as a independent contractor for that company, and it's also a great blessing. But I love doing the magazine. It started right out of college. I graduated from Austin Peay in 2005, and I started that magazine in July. So we've been around ever since. And, with the press business, it's had its ups and it's had its downs with the print industry. And so some people say, well, the newspapers are going to go out of, they're not going to make it because everything is online. And so we have put our publication is online. And so you can visit our website at cshoppermagazine.com. That's cshoppermagazine.com.
Okay. So was your degree for journalism or publication?
Great question. Corporate communications and marketing. And it's just interesting. I was in one of my classes, and the instructor, he was showing us, I think we had a section on publications, and I just found it interesting. I was like, wow, that's awesome. And so I just stepped out, and I really believe it's a vision that God gave me, and I just branched out, and here we are today.
Okay. Yeah. So, because I noticed it helps promote businesses. So, you said it was a vision from God. Mm-hmm. So, was it something in you that was you wanted to help? I don't know, is it predominantly black business or any business, but was it something in you that just wanted to support small businesses?
Absolutely. I would say to support small businesses, especially our African American or black businesses, because many times we don't get the publicity that other ethnicities receive. And so even me being on your radio show today, I'm honored to be here because you're helping to promote people in the community. So I like to say we're a fighter for the small business. We get to tell their story to people that may necessarily, you may not read it in a major newspaper or you may not see it on a major website. So I like to think we have a great part in promoting our small businesses
Okay.
in the community.
Okay.
And providing networking opportunities as well.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about, cause I look at the convenience shopper, and I be seeing leading ladies and magnificent men. Can you tell us what that's about?
Okay, you're following. Hey. Wow, the Convenience Shopper magazine, we've been blessed we've done it all from networking events to the leading ladies, which brings us to the leading ladies. And so one day I wanted to take a break. I was working like crazy, so I wanted to go to lunch that day. So I called 3 women who are in business and I asked them would they like to have lunch with me. I said, we're not going to talk about work. We're just going to have lunch and that's it. And we're going to bring a gift and just say, how much we appreciate one another, because these are not only they're working women, these women, they were wives and mothers, some were grandmothers. And so it's just like, that sounds great. We're not going to talk about work. That was the number one thing we couldn't do. We can't talk about no work, but we're going to celebrate each other. So we went to lunch and it was 4 of us. And it was such a genuine moment, and it made us feel so appreciative, just saying, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're awesome, because we don't tell ourselves that enough, and sometimes we don't hear it, but when people speak that into our lives, it's a blessing. And so we had such a wonderful time. We said, let's do it again. And then there were 10 of us. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go to lunch again. It was never the leading ladies. And then those 10 said, let's do it again. And then it seemed like it was work. And that was the one thing I was trying to get away from. And so it became work for several years of conferences and conventions. And we went to Michigan, 200, 300. And I had to take a break because it can be overwhelming. And the growth of leading ladies, there are so many women who are desiring mentorship, and I think it's necessary. They're desiring leadership. They're desiring, some are great business women, but they don't know how to be a wife. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or they don't know how to balance. And so we're all about, and one thing I can say about the leading ladies, one lady said, well, I would never join because I think you guys are you trying to, take over the men position? I said, that's not what leading ladies is about. Leading ladies is all about just being confident in who you are, putting God first. And if anything, if you're a wife, how can you become a better wife? How can you become a better business professional? How can you display excellence in all that you do? So our whole purpose for leading ladies is about character development and just motivating individuals to be the best that they can be. And so that's how leading ladies came about. And so it's still going. This year we have not had any events, kind of taking a short break because you have to do that. It's like you have to go back and regroup because that thing was just growing and growing. And I'm like, what are you doing, Lord? I don't even understand it. We just wanted to have lunch. Yeah. And then when it kept growing, I'm like, well, how did I get the huge burden? And it's a blessing. But then I found myself as now I'm the founder. And so it's a lot. And so you have to sometimes go back and regroup, and you have to make sure you're prepared for that growth. Sometimes you aren't prepared for the growth because you're thinking, we're just going to lunch. Yeah. It became something with legs and started moving. I said, oh my gosh. And so they're like, what are we doing next? I don't know. We're going to do something. And then Magnificent Men came about because the guys were saying, hey, we're seeing all of these things for women. What about us? And I'm like, what about you? And like, what about us? We don't have a book. so I guess I became a part of that too. It was like, okay, I want to find a way for these men, these awesome men, 50, to share their story. And there are so many people are saying, when's the next book? I want to be. And I'm like, Lord, does it ever end?
Yeah.
But I hope some people will come. If I send a petition out there, if you're interested in coming, you have some ideas to help me to take it to the next level. I need some help. I welcome, because there are so many men, even to this day. Just the other day, one guy says, how come I wasn't in the book world? There are millions of, you're a magnificent man.
Yeah.
There are millions of men out there, but one person can't do it all.
So, Magnificent Men, that's just a book. It's not like a conference like Leading Ladies.
No, they want it to be. I've had men, but they said, we want you to be. I said, no, you, but I just say, Lord, I don't know what you're doing with all this. I wanted to do the book for the men, and I gave them the book. And now there's like, okay, we want more. I don't know about that. I'm praying on that. It's a big responsibility.
What do they actually want you to do?
Comfort, like really just help them all come together. Like I said, I connect people to bring them together for like what we do for the women. We have the conferences, we have the workshops and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So how did Leading Ladies go from a lunch to an actual book? Like,
Wow. We went to Jazz and Jokes when it was there in Nashville, Tennessee, and I chartered a bus and took 50 women. It was like first come, first serve. I think we filled up that bus within 2 days. Like, who wants to go? And so they paid the registration. We went to lunch. And so on the way back, I had an idea. I'm looking around and seeing all these wonderful women. I said, how many of you all would be interested in sharing your story? Because all of us have a story. Now, working with these leading ladies and magnificent men, some of us have been broken, divorced. I've not been divorced, but there are women in the book that have been divorced. Some have lost a child. Some are entrepreneurs. Some have lost a spouse. So it's like, y'all got to tell your story. I have a story to share too. My story that I shared was losing my mother to cancer, one of the hardest things I had to go through. And I felt that I needed to share my story. And how did I come through such a dark time in my life? I was very close to my mother. I was young when I lost my mother. So if I had a story to share, how about 49 others? And it was a great success. We sold a lot of books. We're still selling books.
if they wanted to get the book, where can they purchase
You
it?
can go visit TrevaGordon.com. I do have books available, 931-980-4661. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. We publish through Ex Libris Publishing, so they have the book nationwide. You can just search Leading Ladies Treva Gordon, and you'll find the book.
Okay.
And so, like I said, the men said, hey, what about us? And so I did that. There are 50 men right now in the book called Magnificent Men. And so, and then the kids are saying, hey, I'm like, when does it end? The mothers are saying, hey, my child, what about, what they say? I forgot the name, but like Leading Ladies, M, Magnificent Men, and something. They already named it for the children. Something. It was something like that. Yes, it was something like that.
Okay. So, are them the only two books you have wrote?
Leading Ladies, Magnificent Men. I was asked to write it was something I was asked to write for a gentleman that had put together a book, and it's been some years ago. I just shared an excerpt, a part of a chapter, and I think it was something to do with networking and marketing, but it's been so many years ago. I've never even seen the book, so I don't know if it's out there. I don't know.
So do you plan on writing your own book?
I would love that one day. Not right now. I still feel like things are still coming to fruition in my life. I'm 46, and I still don't feel like it's still yet time to tell my story when I want to share my story. I do have a great testimony. In 2005, as time is going by. So actually 2004, I almost had a near-death experience after giving birth to my daughter Robin. And my story made it all the way to the 700 Club. And it's like being told, even now, it's worldwide. And so I literally died at a hospital in Nashville when all my organs failed. And I mean, you had folks praying for me in the middle of the night. I was life flighted from Clarksville to Nashville. And my life just hung in the balance. And so when I came through that experience, I knew, excuse me, that God had a purpose for me. Sometimes we have to get almost to the valley before we realize, even consider like, wow, Lord, what is it that you have for me to do? So I think my book one day is coming. I think everything is still unfolding in my life, and I've just been blessed. I've been blessed to really help a lot of people, and I think when you help other people, I really believe God helps you. Yeah.
So how did your story make it to 700 Club?
Yes, well, I had been sharing it. You know, I would go into various churches and I would tell my testimony of what happened to me, and I have medical reports that can prove that it was. I mean, I was very close to death, and my records, it's a miracle how it happened. And so they got wind. Someone heard my testimony, heard my story. They contacted the 700 Club. The 700 Club called, and they said, we heard you have a testimony. Now, they said there are many people who have, testimonies, and they say God healed them. They said they almost died. But if we cannot medically verify this in your records, then because some people will say I almost died and it was just a headache. We classify things differently. You can say, oh, I almost died today and it was your toenail that fell off. Well, does that really mean you literally died? They said, but if we can prove in your records, do we have permission to contact the hospital, ER, all these places to see if these reports, what you're telling us, your heart, your liver. I was on a dialysis machine. They said I would be on a dialysis for the rest of my life. I'm no longer on dialysis. I mean, I'm talking about a total healing by God. They said you would be on high blood pressure, heart medication the rest of your life. I'm taking 0 medications. So they said, we'll call you back. I was smiling because I know what they're going to find. And so they called back in 2 days. And first thing they said is, we want to tell your story. And is it okay if we schedule a time for the producers to fly out from Virginia to your home and stay with you a day or two and help tell your story? I said, sure. And so they came out. They did receive the records from the hospital, and so everything was verified. And there were even certain things that I couldn't share with them because they said they could be liable for a lawsuit if they were to televise that information. And the information was when I was on dialysis. And I'm not recommending this to anyone, but when I was on dialysis after I even was home from the hospital, I just decided I wasn't going anymore. Oh. They said, we can't tell that.
Oh, yeah.
We can't tell that. You stop high blood pressure too? We're not telling that. I said, but it happened. I just said one day, and I had a home health nurse that was visiting for about 6 months. I mean, I was sick long after my daughter was born. I mean, I had physical therapists and health nurses to come in the home because I couldn't even hold my baby. So my daughter was months and I was not able to hold her, be an active parent. I had no activity. And so depression came in. I felt like I'm not a great mother. I can't even hold my child. I'm on dialysis. I have to be driven everywhere. I cannot be left alone. It's something when you lose your independence, when you go from being an independent person. That's how my mother and father raised me. To totally dependent upon everybody. That, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's rough because you have to depend on everyone for everything, and you're like, will I ever come out of this? So one day I said to myself, the nurse was coming for the dialysis. I told my husband, I said, I'm not going. He said, what? I said, I'm not going. And I thank God he stood with me. He said, why? I said, if I'm going to die, and I'm being honest, I said, if I'm going to die, I'm just gonna go. I can't do this no more. Because I was healthy before my daughter, and all of a sudden I'm weak. I can't do this no more. All this care 24/7. This is not. I'm mid-30s. I can't do this. And so my husband said, "Well, if you don't want to go anymore, that's He didn't make me go. He could have been like, I'm calling." And so the nurse came and she was knocking on the door. And I told my husband, don't let her in. And so this is what they didn't get to share on my 700 Club. So we didn't let her in. So she called my doctor. And my doctor called me and said, you have to go. And I said, I'm not going. And I hung up the phone. And so I was just literally waiting. I'm waiting what's going to happen to me. I really was waiting like, okay, they said I'm going to die. So I went to bed that night. So I'm probably not going to wake up. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I woke up. I said, I'm feeling fine. And I did it again. And I've been waking up ever since. And I couldn't tell that story on the 700 Club. They said, oh, no, we're not sharing it. So please go to dialysis. Do not stop dialysis. Please go. Go. I had a person, I knew a person, I'm being honest. She heard my story. That's why I'm careful. And she stopped going. She's not here. Like, that's a serious thing. Like, that's something I believe, that's like the almighty power of God comes in. That's something that's not your own. That's bigger. That's what you call a miracle. And that's why the 700 Club came, because they said, you have a miracle testimony. We heard about it. And it is true. There's records of me going to dialysis and receiving treatments. And then today, everything is fine. 100%.
So would you say that you was suicidal at that time when you got off of it, or did God tell you to get off of it?
I believe my stubbornness just got off of it. I can't say I would not put that on God. That's a great question. I just think it was me being tired. I think being depressed and wanting to go home to be with I'm ready to go. I can't do this. So I think that was me. And God said, I got to help this child, because she's going to do something that's going to mess up everything. And so God came in. That's a great question. I never had that question asked. And I can't say I cannot say God said, come off of, I think that was just me. And I believe God just was with me. It's a powerful testimony, because the lady at the hospital in Nashville, she said, when people come to this hospital, their life flighted in, and in the late stage of toxemia that you were in, she said the first 5 minutes, they die on the table just like that.
Yeah. And
for me to have survived that, I had teams of physicians, neurosurgeons and heart specialists and kidney specialists and renal and all of that. And they were just like, this is a miracle. We've never seen anything like this. And so right now, the 700 Club, and this story was told several years ago, maybe in 2012. They aired it, and it's still going on. But I was at home the other day, and someone called, and they said, Treva, I am watching you on, and it's nothing new. It's been out for years. She said, I'm watching you on television in Virginia. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm watching you. She said, the 700 Club has your story on a DVD with 3 other testimonies, and they're sharing it around the world. They call it the Miracles DVD. I had no idea. So whatever, they're raising monies for that network, the 700 Club. I'm not receiving anything. I shared my testimony. That's what I've been through. But I did not know, out of all of the testimonies that they received, they only have 4, and mine is still, it's like highlighted. I'm like, wow.
Okay, you talked about your daughter. Didn't she recently write a book last year?
Yes. Now, we are a publishing company, so we can help publish books for people, called Gordon Publishing. And so from the inspiration from Leading Ladies, it led to me and my husband. My husband already had a publishing company going, but I didn't even realize that. I published Leading Ladies through another company, and then it just hit me. Now, the Lord said, everything you need is in the house. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Your publishing company. So my daughter's book, we did publish her book. It's called Stop Bullying, and Robin is now 13. She and I, my miracle. I'm 13 years healed. She's 13 years old. And I really feel like my life began the day that I gave birth to her. So I feel like, yeah, I'm 46, but I'm really the age of my daughter because I should have been gone. I should not be here. The medical records, hey, they don't lie. I shouldn't be here today. But I'm 13 years alive, and I feel like I've really done so much because before life, before the testimony, I didn't really have a life. It was always, well, if this person did it, I'll do it. I'll just stand in the shadows and applaud you and cheer you on. But if you said, well, why not? Why don't you do it? I didn't feel confident in myself that I could do anything. I came from a background of special education. I was in special education from the 1st through the 6th grade. I always say, how would you like to have the same teacher for 6 years? Starting out the gate, I was already just stamped with, you're going to fail in life. So that was hard to overcome that, the stigma, the label of you're stupid, you're dumb, you can't start a business, you can't. So after my episode with Robin, and God blessed me to live, God spoke to me, you're going to start a business. He was speaking to me like I'm snapping my finger. I was like, oh my gosh, I ain't never heard God before, but I'm hearing him. It's like because when I came to life, he really gave me life. So imagine if you went from a person not doing much in life, and then all of a sudden people see you all over the place. People are going to be like, what are you doing? I don't know who you are. I didn't know who I was. I was just like, I'm excited to live. I'm excited. And then my daughter and my husband and I, we have just instilled what I didn't have instilled in me. We have instilled within our children. You want to be an author? Then write your book. You want to run track, son? Didn't do your thing on it, and my thing is, support your children. I don't think there are enough parents out there that pour and give back. Instead of trying to relive your life through them, live your own life and encourage your children. So she's an author, she's a speaker, she's a mentor, she's an actress, she's a model, and she really believes that, if Philippians 4:13, like I believe, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So congratulations to her. Her book is called Stop Bullying. You can visit my website. She was bullied in the 1st grade on the school bus. I did not know she was bullied. People say, well, how can you not know your daughter? Kids don't tell you everything. Yeah. So she wrote a book about it. And she placed it in my lap. She wrote it 2 years ago. And she said she ran upstairs and she had the manuscript in her hand. She said, Mama, I wrote a book. And I said, okay, I'm trying to figure out leading ladies or whatever. I'm too busy. She said, Mama, I wrote a book. And she dropped the manuscript in my lap. She ran outside and I didn't hear her. And then I heard the Lord. It's times in my life I really do hear the Lord. And he says, didn't you hear your daughter? She said she just wrote a book. She wrote 2 books. And I said, what? And then I looked down, it was foreign, and there was the book from start to finish. Stop Bullying and Kindness. And I knew she got 2, yeah. Oh. And I knew I had to do something with it. It's like, how can you not? I mean, it wasn't like I have an idea for a book. That would have been one thing. It's like, okay, when you get it, come see me. This book, illustrations, cover to cover, done. I'm like, when? What? How? Who? When? And she was outside playing jumping on the trampoline. And I went outside. I said, Robin, I didn't know you wrote a book. She said, yeah, I tried to tell you. But it wasn't, and she wasn't thinking about, she was just saying I wrote a book. And she was happy with, this is it on this paper. Yeah. And it looks a mess and I'm happy. But I knew I had to do it. And we have sold countless books. Robin has been on speaking tour. She met Trey Flowers of the New England Patriots, the Super Bowl champion. This year, we did a tour in Huntsville, Alabama. We're planning on going to Detroit. She's been down to Georgia, and we'll be going back to Georgia. And she's speaking to children about her anti-bullying campaign. So it was really bigger than the book. It's the message. And she is really helping a lot of young people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm proud of her for that.
Not to change the subject, but how did you get into writing plays?
Oh, wow. Well, I've always been a playwright. Growing up, it's what I did. I would, my mother, and God rest her soul, I would love to entertain people when they would come over. We would be that family. we were that dysfunctional family, but everybody would be at our house. I don't know if you were familiar with, you'd have that one, I don't know if you had in your home, if you always had people at your house. That's what our house was like. Everybody came to our house.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was really fun. I miss that. You know, our home we're kind of quiet, but man, growing up, everybody, it could be Leo the drunk, it could be Margaret the stripper, it didn't matter. They all was at our house and we were family. And so sometimes we would chill out in the basement and I would reenact my family's dysfunction. I would play a wino, a drunk, a hooker, something. I would just imitate. It was imitating life. Uh-huh. And they would laugh at themselves. I would beat kids, and like I'm beating my sister because that's the way our mama beat us. And my mother would be laughing, "You are crazy." I'm like, "No, that's you for real. This is." So they would laugh at themselves. And the basements would get more and more people would come. We would pack it out and you would think we were doing shows down there. And it was just me acting with my sisters. And then I started getting involved in the church and, you have the Easter drama and the Christmas and doing that. And then I started writing for the plays and start putting them on. When I moved here, I joined the military, but there was a church we belonged to. And I began writing plays in this small church and we began doing them for the soldiers, taking them on post, and it's just always been a part of me. I love theater, I love the arts, and I love acting, like really good acting and singing. You gotta have, if you're gonna have a play, not only do you have to have great actors, but you have to have great singers. You can't be a bad singer in a play. So I believe it all works hand. And I love making my audience laugh. I love for them. I love drama. And so people say, I think you get all that drama from Detroit. I have enough drama from my family history. And I write real stuff. It's funny when you watch it, but it's stuff that I have witnessed. It's like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. No, you ain't seen crazy. You can go home to Detroit and show you crazy.
So how many plays have you written?
Probably like six major plays, but I've done countless like skits and short plays. I've done those like in churches for years, so I can't even hundreds probably, but like major, I would say like six major.
And did someone come to you like let's put a play together, or you was just like, I'm gonna make a play?
Ever since my daughter, it's like I got new life. Yeah, and just I would always do the small one within before Robin. But then when Robin was born, it's like, woo! My husband was like, woo, you gotta slow down. Let's do a play. I'm taking it on the road. We did shows and it's just crazy.
Ain't you also a singer too?
No. No. I'm not adding that. I don't want to add no more. I'm good. I really believe the Lord is just blessing me to do what I do because I'm not choosing to do it. It's like, man, when I was in the hospital, I told the Lord, I saw the monitors and it didn't look good and they said, we don't know, and I was really ill. And I remember having a conversation with God in the hospital, in ICU. I said, God, if you allow me to live, I did this. I said, I promise you that whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to do it. And before this life, I always lied. If I said I'm going to do something for God, I wouldn't really do it. But I said I would do it for God, and I'm still doing it for God. It's like I didn't choose to do all these things, like from the magazine to the leading ladies to helping the magnificent men to... It's like, man, I have a prison. I told God, one of the first things I told him is that, I'm going to go into prison. I didn't know anything about going into no prison. Now I have a prison ministry. I've had it for about 7 years. And it is truly a blessing. It's like one of the best things. Like it's one of the things that I really, really love. Yeah. Okay. Love it.
So we had talked about it before we had started recording, talk about how you got into radio.
Yeah, my good friend Damon King, shout out to him. The Light, he met me in 2007 as I was doing my magazine and asked me to come down and help him at the station, and I did. Yeah, and they said once you get in radio, it's hard to get out. Been in ever since.
Cause that's what I really want to get into radio.
Are you sure? Be careful what you ask for. I'm serious. You sure? Okay, it's gonna happen.
So what is
Can't get out.
What is some like?
I'm trying to get out.
What is some advice you would give someone trying to get into that profession?
I would say stay true to yourself. Like, I like your show. Stay true to who you are. You know, be who you are, and because you will grow a fan base of people that want to hear your show. And so if you try to do it like Steve Harvey or try to do it like, you won't succeed. They are looking for authenticity. And everybody who wants to listen to someone that's a carbon copy of somebody else. And so work really hard, build a great fan base. You know, I think this show is wonderful. What's the name of the show?
Coach and Cigar.
What's the name of the show?
Coach and Cigar.
Y'all got that? Come on now. And then I think this is like, if I could ask you a question, what made you want to start your own show?
Well,
yeah.
Well, really, nobody really asked me questions on here, but I started listening to podcasts because a coworker, he told me that that's what he listened to, so I just decided to check it out. And then when I started listening to different podcasts, I felt like I could do it too. So then I researched how to start one, and then it said you got to come up with a theme or a topic. So I was like, well, you know, recently I started smoking cigars, and normally I'll be having good conversations at the cigar lounge. So I said that's what the podcast gonna be.
That's all right. Wow. So, man, I'm not gonna turn, but do you enjoy having your own show?
Yeah, it's fun, but the thing is, I'm not really a talker. So like, after I got everything, I was like, man, I don't even like to talk. So then that was like a fear, like how I'm gonna do a podcast. And I don't really like to talk, but podcasts, you gotta talk.
Yeah,
so,
you have, and podcasts, you guys talk way more than people on radio.
Yeah.
Like, because you could just go on and on.
Yeah.
And see, as you see, I'm a talker. This part of being in radio and media. Some people say, "Ooh, you can talk." I'm like, "Oh, I know." But yeah, I would say just stay true to who you are and be consistent. Be consistent. Like, don't be on the air and be off the air and come back 2 years. I'm back on the air. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it.
That's fine. Okay, so how do you manage all this? Like, you're a publisher, author, radio personality, mother, wife, speaker, evangelist. It's just, how do you find the time to just do all this?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes it's like the Energizer Bunny. You got to keep going. It's like, you know, if you know your child needs food, you know, what, you're going to sit down on the side of the road and say, you know, I'm too tired to provide. You know, it's like a survival. Life is all about, it's a survival game. And so I'm here to win it. I'm here to, you know, and sometimes, you know, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, that means then I need to pull back in a certain area. So you have to prioritize and categorize the things in your life and stop adding. Don't keep adding if you can't maintain. If you can't maintain one thing, don't go add 2 and 3 things. Talking about you doing this because the Lord know, baby. And I've been times where I've been overwhelmed because I've added that one extra. A lot of times we take on things because someone will push us. Come on, girl, because they know if I'm already doing it, they'll add on. You know, when you gonna start the children's book? Not right now, because I'm trying to maintain. You know, and then it's just like with my family. Man, they're doing all kinds of things. Like my husband said, I'm going to start a church. I said, what? Because I know we're a family. That's like, I can't let you out here, and I got to help you. So I have to prioritize. My daughter said, I'm going to keep singing. What? I want to write more books. No, what? Somebody who's got to help her with that? Am I going to quit on my child? No. So I think you have to stretch yourself. You know, for anyone that's out there, you know, take it on. Don't be afraid of challenges, and don't be afraid of the blessings that God will place in your lap, because sometimes you can lose your blessing because you complain about, oh, I have too much. Well, what about when you didn't have anything? And so I have to welcome it as a wonderful opportunity. I have to say thank you, Lord, for choosing me. And just if you bless me to do all of these things, you'll give me the strength to manage them and manage them well. You know, you can hire someone, you can get an assistant, you can, you don't have to do it all yourself. When I go to the prison, I have 3 or 4, but I don't go by myself I can't do all that. But I have some people that'll go with me to the prison. Like our magazine just came out. I have 3 other people to help distribute the magazine. I always like to have a hands-on. You got to have a hands-on in your business. You can't just sit back and just let everybody, because it'll fall apart. You got to put your hand. So I always have a portion of the route. And yes, I deliver magazines. You may see me out there, say hi. But I have people also that can assist me, because that's too much of a route for me to do all by myself. So if you can have people to help you, don't be afraid to ask for help, because that will help advance you to the next level. Yeah, so that's how I balance. I need help. Yeah. Utilize your help, people. Utilize and stay true to what God has called you to do. And, you don't do it like Sally. Don't do it like Ralph. Don't do it like Sheila. There's only one you, and be who you are, and you will do just fine. That's right.
Okay. So before we close out, is your plays on DVDs?
The last play that we did in December, that DVD, believe it or not, it should be here this weekend. And I don't even know where we'll post it to. Like the guy who put it together said I should have the DVD this weekend. So I guess you can follow TrevaGordon.com. I'm on Facebook, everybody, Instagram, Treva Gordon. Hit me up on Facebook, and I'm sure we'll have the information for the play. Some of the other plays that I've done, I do have those DVDs, but I was not pleased with maybe sound quality, different things that I just did. Maybe the lighting was really bad or something, a technical difficulty. So I chose not to release those, because when you release something, that's a reflection of you.
Yeah. And
what if Tyler Perry gets that DVD, or I'm just saying who, then it might cause me to, it could be a hit or miss situation. So I want to put out something that's excellent and of quality. So hopefully if this one is good and I see it, I like it, it will be released.
Okay. But I think, I think you at your friend limit on Facebook.
I am, but I can delete somebody. I'll add you. Yeah, I am at my friend, but I always delete people I don't know. Like if they've not been in touch with me and I know they're just on there, I'll just delete them and add, because now it's like great connections like yourself. It's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll be Facebook friends, because sometimes, you got to move out the old to make room for the new. And there may be some blessings in the new relationships to come. So, I don't mind deleting to add. And someone said, well, why don't you, people always have suggestions, why don't you start another Facebook? That's more work.
Yeah.
Isn't it a lot of work to maintain your social media? I don't have a person, like I inboxed a person and they probably have 250 friends. And they were like, well, this is so-and-so, I'm their assistant managing. I'm like, really? Are you serious? You don't have like 200 friends? No, it's just me. If you inbox me, I will message you back. I am on Facebook, but I am not starting a second page. I have people in Ghana that is, with the 700 Club, it's amazing, because I've had people send me friend requests all over the world. And, I've had people from Ghana, Africa, Nigeria, different places say, I watched your testimony. My wife died of toxemia, and I'm like, wow, your wife died? Yes, my wife died from giving birth. So, that's a serious thing. Like, ladies, y'all are strong. We're strong to be able to give natural birth, to our children. Some make it and some really don't. And I was that small percentage that shouldn't have made it. It's no way, when everything started failing, God saw fit. He saw this radio show interview. He's like, no, you got to be there for that. And I'm like, what? I got to be there. So yeah, I'm here. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for coming on. Normally, I like to end like with words of encouragement. It could be general, and it could be in general. It could be to someone in radio, someone trying to write a book, someone. Any words of encouragement for anybody?
Wow. I just want to say, y'all keep doing it. Be who God wants you to be. Don't change for nothing. You will encounter some haters all along the way, people that don't like you, and they'll say some bad things about you, but don't let that stop you. I was at the Greenway the other day, and I shared with the young lady, I said, if you allow your haters to shut you down, then they have won. And everyone, if you're doing anything positive, you're going to have that. So don't let that be a deterrent factor to keep you from achieving your goal. The only person that can quit on you is you quitting on you. So, you got all these other people that's going to quit on you all day long. But just make sure you don't quit on you. I don't care. So what if you got a podcast? You may have one person listening. May have 1 million. Treat that one like it's the million. Treat that, don't go by, well, we don't have a mega church. I'm going to treat the members of our church amazing as if we have 10,000 members at our church. So don't let numbers defy you. Just keep being the person that you are. Believe in your dreams. I don't care what age you are. I'm still pushing. I have not arrived. I don't know when I arrive. When I get there, I'll come back on the show and say, listen, y'all, I made it. I made it. But I think we all need something in life. You could be LeBron James. He's still trying to get to something. Yeah. He may have rings or whatever he has, but there are some things in his life that maybe he has not accomplished yet, right? And so I'm still striving. That book, I haven't told it yet. That song, I have not sung my best song. I went skydiving 2 years ago. I always said I wanted to do it. In my life now, I'm facing my fears. Maybe I'll climb Mount Everest one day. Maybe that's what I'll figure it out. And then I'll come back if you'll have me and tell y'all all about it. So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Can you once again tell them if they want to get any of the things that you put out?
I appreciate that. Yes, you can. My name is Treva Gordon. I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee. You can hit me up on Facebook. My website is trevagordon.com. The magazine is cshoppermagazine.com. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things. Treva, Treva Gordon. You can hit me up for the book, Leading Ladies or Magnificent Men. Robin's book, Stop Bullying. I do manage her. I had to take over her part because she's got her own stuff going. Then Mile High Church. We're located inside the Kenwood High School. Our service begins at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And I think that is about it. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, definitely send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, send me an email, something, TrevaGordon1@gmail.com. Let me know that you enjoyed listening to my conversation with Demetrius today.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show.
This is a great show. Yeah. I'm going to have to write about this in my magazine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Culture and Cigars. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, as well as other platforms. Leave a comment, rate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everyone that's been following me thus far. And we're doing it for the culture.